Hi, my name is Cynthia Lees, and this is Bearing Witness to Miracles and Blessings in Daily Life, an interfaith discussion where you are invited to bring your own sacred texts and teachings. Now you can stop the share. Thank you. Okay. Apparently I get to work on the marketing for getting people to join me on this. I've had people say they're interested, and I'm perhaps not sending out the reminders at the right time. And that's all good. I have somebody definitely who has put it on her calendar for this time next month because she's up to big things. And actually, I'd like to take a minute and so hi, my name is Cynthia Lees, and I am a global practitioner of something called the Art of True Light. I came to it as a Christian in an interdenominational church, and it's not a religion, but I first described it as an app that you add on top of your religion, because as you come to know, or as I have come to know these teachings, and in the discussions that I have been with people of other faiths who come to know these teachings, everyone says that this helps to deepen their understanding of whatever sacred text they're already studying. And by following these teachings, I feel my spirit getting more and more deeply aligned with God, and I'm better able to listen to that voice. And to that end, let's start with a quote. Janelle, if you would be so kind as to pull up the first one for today. I believe it's page 9. And let me know when you're sharing screen, because it's not popping up on this end.
The people that
here it comes. Okay. And if you can make it a little bit bigger so I can see 115.5. All right, thank you. So yes, I'm reading from something called the Yokoshi Prayer Book. This is something that I carry in my fanny pack, as some people carry around a small pocket Bible. And each day I participate in a prayer call that reads a series of these teachings, maybe 4 or 5 or 6 of these quotes at a time. And then we have a chance to discuss them. And so this one spoke to me a few days ago. Know that just as people voice their requests to God in their prayers, God on his part also has wishes that he wants to see fulfilled. Okay, you can stop the share for a minute. Thank you so much. And so once upon a time, before I knew better, I would pray, God, I want X, Y, and Z. And hey, I was really good at it. I learned that if I prayed specifically, God delivered abundantly. I said, God, the AI clip of a live stream I did the other day remembered a time when I was practicing Christian, but not yet Sukyo Mahikari. I said, God, I need money. I don't know what to do. And then the next day, my phone rang, and somebody out of the blue said, hey, you know that 50 acres you have in Maine? I'd like to buy it. I'm like, oh, thank you, God. and I mean, no work on my part. It was just the request. And then later, when I was looking to move, and I was moving from like 16 acres of farmland overlooking 500 acres of farmland, and going into the a county where 85 to 100 people were moving in every day, and there was no space between the houses, and they'd knock down single-family houses and build tall and skinnies. And I said, God, I want green space. I want a room and a bath. I want someplace quiet. I want trees, and I want water nearby. And God, because I was asking at that time, God, no cell tower within a mile. So that was my ask, and I received abundantly. The landlady I got, I wanted animals too. And the landlady I got had 3 bedrooms, 2 baths in an end unit condo and a cutest little dog. And when she said, she had a bed and a bath that I could afford, and it was quiet. She said, what else do you want? I said, well, I could really use a second room. I'm a student. I need an office. And so I then got 2 rooms and a bath for the price of 1, both overlooking trees and green space in a quiet end unit condo, no feet overhead, very quiet. Directly across the street from the condominium complex was J. Percy Priest Lake, and 2 miles of walking trails under trees alongside the water. And the cell tower was a mile down the road. And 3 weeks after I moved in, my landlord turned out to be Canadian, and so she could only spend 6 months at a time in the US because she didn't have a green card. So she went back to Canada. COVID happened, the borders closed. I stayed for 2 years, and she came back 3 weeks in before I left again. I had that place to myself to heal for 2 years with her and her dog playing music. She was a Nashville singer-songwriter, and playing music and having a dog at the beginning and at the end. And it was like, wow, thank you, God. And so know that just as people voice their requests to God in their prayers, God on his part also has wishes that he wants to see fulfilled. And so since practicing Mahikari, when I arrived at that Nashville apartment, I didn't yet have, I had the light in my life. I'd already received a light, and I think that was part of what brought me there. And yet I wasn't yet a practitioner. And now as a practitioner, when people ask me to pray, my cousin is sick, my mother's in the hospital, my dog is not feeling well, I don't pray that their cancer goes away or that they suddenly feel better, or I just pray for their highest and best good in accordance with the divine plan, in accordance with God's will. What is God's plan for them? I don't know. And I'm now understanding that every challenge is a gift, because if you want to pull up the slide that I think is like number 1 in the deck, it's from the Go Sagan, something about every voice, everything in heaven and on earth is the voice of God. Yes, a little bit bigger. Yes, everything in heaven and on earth is the voice of God. And that was a revelation given to the founder of Sukyo Mahikari at 5 a.m. on February 27th, 1959. And once I understand that everything in heaven and on earth is the voice of God, the wind, the fires, the sunlight, the clouds, the broken foot, the tornado, the barking dog, the dog that cuddles, everything, the ugly parts and the beautiful parts, then I know that I have to listen. Okay, you can stop sharing. Thank you. And when I start listening to the world as the voice of God, I can better understand where to serve. Because if I'm seeing something wrong in the world, for a while I was at the point of, if I see something wrong in the world, I need to understand the principle of the mirror and look at myself and where have I done that to somebody else? And yes, and that's part of it. And okay, so now one of the recent things that's on my radar in the past couple of weeks is AI. AI has been on my radar for a while, but it wasn't a threat before. I wasn't worried about AI taking over, even though I'm seeing some things where you should be concerned. But I wasn't aware of the environmental impact of the amount of data that is necessary to do the things that we're doing with AI. And now that I'm aware that to run the AI data centers takes an enormous toll on the environment. And the environment, Mother Earth, this is what we live on. This is the planet we live on. And now I'm understanding that. Now I'm asking everybody that I know to think about, well, what is your AI footprint and can you be responsible for it? I use AI. I use searches all the time and ask questions and definitions. And, at a time I was building email lists and courses and things like that. And I'm not anymore. I'm limiting those requests that I put in and thinking about them and understanding that, the kinds of requests that I'm making, so long as I'm not doing a lot of illustration and video illustration and animation and a lot of edits and long form pieces, that my AI footprint is going to be relatively small and I really don't need to worry much about it. And yet, when I saw a video, I think it was last weekend, of somebody walking along a path. It was a tree-lined path. It could have been right here where I am in the Daniel Boone National Forest in southeastern Kentucky. But it didn't sound like this. What do you hear? You don't hear. Sometimes you have birds or rain or barking dogs. Sometimes there are kids going up and down on all-terrain vehicles. But for the most part, it's quiet here. It's just the sounds of nature. It's the sounds of wind and birds and the rooster crowing. I can hear a bird singing in the distance now. And what I saw on that video was somebody walking down a path that should have been quiet and should have had the sounds of birds or frogs or something. And instead there was this like 90 decibel electronic hum that like just ate at your nerves. All because you're in a green space. You can't be calm with that kind of aggravation happening to your body, to your cell structure. And then hearing from farmers about how cattle lose 30% of their body weight, hens lay half as many eggs. People's nervous systems are disrupted. They want to put a data center next to the Nashville Zoo. The Nashville Zoo has endangered species in it, where when they introduce new species or new animals to the zoo, they put like everybody down in this protective area so that there's no disruption as they bring new animals in. And yet, by putting something like that within 5 miles of the Nashville Zoo, let alone next door, you're raising the decibel level to a point where it's not going to be supporting life of some of the most endangered species on the planet. So why are we doing that? Because of greed, because everybody wants more money. Oh, look at all the money you bring in for our school systems. Yeah, how sick are the kids going to be in those schools? I'm sorry. It doesn't add up. And so being aware that everything on heaven and on earth is the voice of God, I'm listening and I'm saying, okay, you wanted me to see this. You wanted me to be aware of it and speak out about it. I'm not Erin Brockovich. I'm glad she's on the case. I'm really glad because, yeah, she will go out and put a voice to it and help other people stand up. I mean, I chose to step out of the American voting system, and yet I still have a voice as a citizen. When I moved up here, I decided that my voice, my vote didn't matter because the scales were weighted the way the scales were. I live in what they call a red state, and my voice hasn't been red. It's always been purple. And yeah. And so I don't complain, but I'm aware. And so one of the things that has come to my attention over and over and over in years is, and more so recently, the power of intentional prayer together. When 2 or more people gather in my name and, put your hands together and appeal to God to listen. And perhaps you're praying in the name of your sainted grandmother who is not feeling well, and not praying that she get better and turn 16 again, because 93 is where she earned to be, and yet, but may she be comfortable, may she be happy, in whatever days she has left, and your will be done. And I had a thought and it's now gone. Janelle, were you listening to what I was saying? What's the next expected thing?
Oh, it's about prayer, intentional
okay,
prayer.
praying. Okay, thank you. And so to that end, when I came up here to Kentucky, beginning of 2022, March of 2022, shortly thereafter, I joined a collective community of prayer that meets every day with this prayer book that I carry in my fanny pack around my belt, and I just lost the, excuse me. Look, Mark. And by participating in intentional prayer with people, it was simply a prayer ceremony. It wasn't that we're all praying for a list of names, but we're going through prayers in this book. It brought me central to the messages in this book and central to the need to be grateful and to be of service every day. And I'm more aware of studies showing how group consciousness together can shift things. And our teachings, the last time I was at a Sukyo Mahikari center at the monthly ceremony, there was a slide up there from our current Ushini Nishisama, our current holy master, who, my takeaway from it is saying that the reason we haven't gotten to World War III yet, because left in the hands of political leaders who are working on the basis of greed, wars would be funded and we'd all be annihilated by now. But the reason we haven't is because of people intentionally appealing and gathering and being conscious together. And to that end, and I started talking about this when I came on, was my new committed colleague, Angela, and Desi B. Now I'm interested in that global relay for humanity. This is something that's coming up on Thanksgiving weekend, November 28th and 29th, 2026. And this global intention for humanity relay is starting out, I think it's 6 a.m. Japan time on the 28th, and it's going hour by hour by hour around the globe, where people are holding space for a world that works for everyone. And my take on it is prayer. But that's not what this is. This is a global intention. It doesn't have to be prayer. It can be people playing baseball, holding in their hearts a world that works for everybody, and where there are no winners and losers. We're just out here to play the game. And Desi B, do you have that global intention for humanity, and can you share it?
Hold on.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I know I'm jumping around, but that's what you get when there's nobody else in the room. Yes, so this is meant to be an hour where other people come to share their witness to how the hand of God has worked through their life. And I have put both of these people on the spot before. Janelle and Desi B are my virtual assistants in the Philippines. They are absolutely wonderful. And they're involved in church. And okay, can we get it a bit bigger? Oh, I can read it. A bit bigger. Global intention from humanity. Okay, yes. This is not a normal peace project. This is a grand experiment where the whole world is invited to use their focused intention to create the unimaginable for 24 hours. So this is a world that works for everyone with no one and nothing left behind or left out. Okay, scroll on down. Thank you. So yeah, millions are ready for something different. And so this is 24 hours of uninterrupted, unified intention spread over 195 countries among people of all faiths. Okay, scroll on down, please. And so with one shared vision, 24 hours, one world, one intention, a whole world where every person is uplifted, included, and empowered with no one and nothing left out. Okay, and so you can stop sharing. Next month, I've invited Angela, who's now championing this project, this Global Intention for Humanity Relay, to come and speak about to bear witness and to talk about this project. And if you are watching this on the replay before November 28th, I request that you follow the link for the Global Intention for Humanity, which will be in the description of this video after it gets uploaded to YouTube. And join somehow. It can be as small as going next door and doing something with your neighbor for an hour where you are holding that intention. And if you're as excited as I am, I'm holding a space on Zoom in the same conscious community collective or collective community that this bearing witness is hosted on. And I'm also attempting to tell everybody I know about it, because if all of the churches imagine if it took off in your town, if everybody in your town, on that day in a specified hour, we're holding that intention collectively, working together, having fun. Maybe they're out at a barbecue or a picnic or floating on the river, and seeing a world that's working for everyone with nobody and nothing left out. How much closer would we get to that? It's not out there building the bridges and making homeless shelters and serving people, although it could be. It could be. It's the conscious, unified effort of holding that space, however you choose to. And if you're in an inner city, or I'm in a very rural area, and yet there's all for those churches or those places that have cookouts in the park, hold space to feed people, because they're always hungry nearby. And okay, I've gone down that rabbit hole enough. Could we have the second slide that I put up? So it'd be page 10. And it's just kind of a repeat of the first one. The earlier one had been, know that just as people voice their requests to God in their prayers, God on his part also has wishes that he wants to see fulfilled. And so now this one reminds us, never forget, just as a person has his or her own wishes, God also has his own wishes. Stop and think about that. Okay, you can stop sharing. And so when I get up every morning, people say, don't reach for your phone immediately. And I don't reach for my phone. And I reach to unplug it. I reach it to check, is it do not disturb or something, but I'm not checking messages yet. I know what time the phone will ring. It'll ring at 7 o'clock. I'll set my possibility for the day. But even before I set that intention and possibility, I'm always asking God, how can I serve? I wake up in the morning and I breathe and I think, how am I meant to serve today? Because I have my plans, and God has pointed out to me time and time and time again, so that I finally get it, that I'm welcome to have all the plans that I want, because God likes to laugh. I mean, man, the first time I got married because I wanted to have kids then. Yeah. 17 years later, we got divorced. We were together 20 years. No kids. I had children that went home at 2:30, and then later I had kids that said bah because they had 4 feet. But yeah, God laughed. You know, we are welcome to have our plans, but until we understand that God's plans are more important and they're always working for our highest and best good, that if we're stuck in traffic and we're going to be late for that meeting, it's not all about that we should have left earlier, because yeah, we probably could have should have left earlier, but also it's about we're not meant to be there on time. We're meant to be there in God's time. Which reminds me, when I started working for Metropolitan Interdenominational Church in Nashville as the assistant to the senior servant, poor man, who stuck with me for 12 years. And he made the mistake of having a sermon title, CP Time, which was a takeoff on colored people's time, because it was predominantly Black church. And his take on it was not colored people's time, but Christ's perfect time. Whoa! That was a setup. That worked for me because, see, I was raised by somebody who was chronically late. I mean, I remember one time when we were supposed to leave on a vacation with my dad, we left a week late. So if he wanted me in there from 9 to 1 and I showed up from 10 to 2, well, hey, I'm here in Christ's perfect time. I mean, by the time I was done working for him, I showed up when Cynthia showed up, and she stayed till the work was done, and it all worked because he understood. He had spoken about it. Yeah, that was one of the God lessons that I got before Mahikari. Okay, I'm running down. What was the third slide that I had up? Be page 11. (107.6). Yes. And there it is. As I said, I get up in the morning, setting an intention of, how am I meant to serve? And it comes from this teaching. The more you strive to notice what service needs to be rendered to God, and the more you serve God without seeking the attention of others, the more rewards God will grant you. Now, the thing about without seeking the attention of others, I had a conversation with somebody the other day who said, in a, I'll say, disparaging tone, "Oh, you want to be an influencer." Because I've said to her, well, yeah, what I'm doing or what I was doing, what I have been doing on YouTube, the Cynthia Lee's Live in Gratitude, I'm seeking to influence people to understand that by being grateful for everything, every moment of the day and night, life gets better. And so to me, yeah, I want to be an influencer. And so, yeah, I am seeking attention, but I'm not seeking attention to sell high-ticket programs. I'm seeking attention to ask people to turn themselves to God. Okay, you can stop the share. When I've been, one of the things I've done over the past year, I just finished up a couple of weeks ago, was I participate in programs with Landmark Education, Landmark Worldwide, and I was on one of their elite high performance training and development programs, the team management and leadership program, and I was on team 1 for a year. And on team 1, instead of just working on a project, we were working on team games. And so my game was Awaken in Divine Light. And I was seeking to guide people to the light. And the thing about that is, although the final outcome of the game was counting people who chose to become light practitioners, I'm not seeking to convert everybody to Mahikari, because not everybody's going to be called. What I am seeking is for those who are willing to just experience this true light of God by sitting down for 10 minutes with your eyes closed and letting me hold my hand about a foot away from your forehead and chant prayer in ancient divine language. And if you're lucky enough, maybe sing a song. You don't know what will happen. Something will shift in your life. I mean, sometimes people will feel something right away, and sometimes they'll notice something after the fact. I had one person, I was writing in my gratitude journal. I keep a gratitude journal because when I came to this practice, it has 3 great virtues: gratitude, acceptance of the will of God, and humility. And I started with gratitude very slowly and becoming grateful, keeping a gratitude journal. I started with creating gratitude coloring book journals. And then from there, kept a daily gratitude journal, which Janelle is getting me ready to start publishing any day now, any week now. And I discovered that I went from a very unhappy place where when I went on the Joy of Morning prayer call and Nahid would open the prayer with, "Oh, thank you so much for this breath of life and for giving us another day to serve after millions of people passed away last night. We have another day to serve." And I would be waking up like, God, I would have liked to have gone to the other side. I could be done with this. I really don't see what my purpose is anymore. I'd gotten lost. And by staying grateful and listening, I understood that I was doing all I needed to do. And so I started, practicing gratitude, telling people about gratitude, sharing gratitude. Somebody taught me the business of gratitude. And yeah, I can't work it as a business. I choose not to work it as a business. I use the business tools of it to uplift others, but not, if it wants to sell itself as a business, let it. And so far, yeah, it hasn't. Of course not. If you don't ask for a sale, you won't get one. The only sale I ask for the most part, is, may I offer you light? When may I offer you light? Where may I offer you light? And if you're in the Philippines, it'll be like, well, when are you going near a center in the Philippines? And yeah, because something shifts. Oh, so I was writing in my gratitude journal, coming home from a monthly ceremony or a might have been a kenshu, doesn't matter. And I dictate into my phone something about, I'm so very grateful that the more service I offer, the more opportunities I have to serve, period. Turn off the phone, set it down, look up, and this guy falls over on his bike on the sidewalk. And I probably told this story last time. And when I pull over and help him up and help him put the bike in the back of my car, at first he was worried, oh no, it'll mess up your car. I'm like, it's a farm car, don't worry about it. When I came home to my partner, he's like, yeah, it probably messed up his bike, which it didn't. But he received 10 minutes of light, and he felt moved, and he shared his Catholic faith with me. And then we went our separate ways, but he said, when you pass back through, because passing through his town on the way to the center was something that I could be doing potentially every month, call me again. I want some more light. And so the next time I was passing through, it was on a Friday evening. I said, do you want light on Saturday morning or Sunday afternoon? And he said, oh, well, here's the thing. You told me to watch for a shift in my life. And don't you remember I showed you the 1-bedroom apartment where I stayed? And I was very happy, and it was several floors up, but I was a distance from my mom and everything. Well, now I live near her. I'm 30 miles away, got, 3 bedrooms, and it's on acreage, maybe 3 acres as well. I mean, he was really happy he had moved. And the thing that got to me was he attributed that shift happened because he received the light. And if he did, I'm sure it was. And so you'd never know. And another experience that I had was, I understand that when you receive light, okay, when I give light, I'm receiving some, but the other person, it's passing through me, so I'm getting light. But when you receive light, it's touching you, and it's touching spiritually connected souls, including people not in this realm, your ancestors, your loved ones who have passed, your loved ones who you don't even know, the ancestors that you don't even know. And I had an experience on my birthday this year. We'd had a few days of ice and snow, so it was good because I had back pain, unusual, and stiffness. And so I wasn't wearing my fanny pack, and I was dressed in a bathrobe because it hurt. And on my birthday, in the middle of the afternoon, that pain lifted. And I thought, well, this is really interesting. I'm not quite sure why, but I'll take it, God. Thank you very much. And I got dressed. And the next day, when I went on the prayer call, what was really cool was a spiritually related soul who, the first time I met her in person, reached out and said, "Soul sister," and greeted me with open arms. I mean, it was like, oh, wow. She had gone to the U.S. headquarters for light. And the most important person, our North American region director was there. And she didn't have an appointment, but he said, "May I offer you light?" And she said, yes. And she got a full session of light. And she had a rollator walker, but she got up feeling really good. And I this was on the prayer call, and I'm unmuting. "You think you got healed? I got healed too. Thank you." And they were crediting, she had, her husband was on the ground in Tehran, and there was wartime, and they were being bombed. And it was like, yeah, and you've uplifted people over there too. And so understanding that you don't know how it's going to work, but it is going to work because it's the hand of God. And what's really cool about this art of true light, it's if you're a Christian, it's the same light that Jesus gave. If you're, other faiths, there have been other sages and saints who've offered the same light. You can see it on the Egyptian the walls in Egypt. People offering light. It's the same light, and it no longer takes 40 years of climbing to the mountains in the Himalayas to follow a guru, and you can only touch a few people. I mean, when Jesus had this power, he could touch his disciples. I mean, he could touch people one by one, and this is a one-on-one in-person practice. But then did the disciples go out and, was he being able to create more? It's like it's another level of spiritual awakening now that is open to us, and we can go out and change the world. And I'm excited about that. Okay. I know I promised to talk for an hour because there could be space for other people. So I know there are also a slide there with other things that I'd like to bring people's attention to. So I asked Desi B to find it and share it. I know there's actually, there's the Awakening Weekend coming up. So David Cunningham, Your Love Does Matter. Let's see what he's got. So it's like, okay, yeah, no, not that one. Okay, so yeah, the other one, the Sukyo Mahikari, that bright one, that had 5 links on it. Okay, yeah. So if you want to receive this light practice that I have, there are a couple of ways that you can do it. You can reach out to me in the YouTube comments and say, "Hey, help," and tell me where you live. You can go to this first link under Sukyo Mahikari True Light. And if you're going to sukyomahikari.org, okay, he's got North America HTML. I think if I just go to, sukyomahikari.org, and then you can find locations. In North America, there are 21, or I've heard somebody say 22 centers in North America. If you're in Central America, they're in South America. They are in countries all over the world. They're not in Iran yet, but they're in India, they're in Dubai. But be matched with a light giver. Can you take us to that joyfullight.com site, Desi B, so we can see what that looks like? That one, yeah, so here you go. Janet Lamb. See that smile? Can you make it bigger? Janet Lamb is a beautiful soul. She met me in a crowded room in the end of 2019, and every time we made eye contact, I cried. My life was a mess. I was getting divorced for the second time, or hoping to get divorced for the second time. Hadn't even, made a move. This was before I went to Nashville. And she just looked at me and she said, "Hey, may I offer you light?" And if you click on her links and fill out her form, she will call you back, find out where you are, and match you with a light giver. And she has Kenshu twice a year at her, what do you call it? at her home, which is the center in Reno, Nevada. And I chose to get I chose to take the course there with her first several times before I even discovered that my home center is in Atlanta. So yeah, if you're interested in light, go to joyfullight.com, JOYFULLIGHT. So there are 3 L's in the middle of that one. Thank you. And then this transform with gratitude. Yeah, try it. Does it go Enchanted Dreams Publishing System? I don't know if that's the thing. I think you gave me a different. Yeah. So yeah, if you go to that link, it will allow you to get on my mailing list, which I do a very poor job of managing, but that will get you a 7 steps to success with gratitude. It was how I was trying to figure out how to be grateful in my life and, be still, breathe, connect with nature, all of those things. And that'll get you a daily email for about a week or more, and then a weekly email, and sometimes 2, but not much more than that. Thank you. Back to the main slide. And, okay, join the community. So consciouscommunity.mn.co, I think actually just takes us to the bearing witness. There is this conscious, excellent, maybe not. Okay, so did the conscious community MN take you to the whole community? If you back up a second? Yeah, okay. Because the idea is for you to go to that community and join the community. And then from there are all of these different events that you can join. And then you're looking for the bearing witness, which is showing up on June 11th for some reason. And today is June 10th. And here we are. But it is what it is. Interesting. That's interesting. Yeah, we got it on the wrong date there, but that's okay.
I think it's set for the Philippines since it's already June 11
here.
here.
Okay, good. Thank you. Yeah, that explains it. Yes, that explains it. Yeah, and because tonight I have a spiritual. Yes. All right. Thank you, and then back to the main slide. And we will wrap this up early. Okay, increase your love footprint. Okay, give me a chance to talk about your love. Maybe find the link before you share the screen. And I'll just babble for a hot minute while you find it. So Your Love Does Matter is a book written by David Cunningham. And I periodically listen to it as an audiobook. Okay, could you stop sharing the screen, please, while you look for the David Cunningham? Yeah, when you have the David Cunningham site, yourlovedoesmatter.com, and you're ready to pull that up, go for it. But he has, okay, this will probably show up backwards, I'm not sure, but he has Your Love Does Matter, which is a book which, there you go, talks about how your love makes a difference in the world. Have a love footprint. I've gone through as a Yokoshi, as a practitioner of the art of true light, I am guided to be an always smiling Yokoshi, spreading my smile and my love that way. And then David takes that to another level and has you just thinking about your love footprint and how it expands in the world. And in the orange strip at the top of his head, we're not going to follow the link, but it's talking about Awakening Weekend in Philadelphia in the end of June. I'm doing the Awakening Weekend in Minneapolis at the end of July, beginning of August, and I would love to see you there. It's, 4 days with David Cunningham, getting in tune with how important your love is in the world and feeling it. And once you get on his mailing list, he has monthly free 90-minute Zoom calls that he's been doing on different topics where you focus your intention. And again, it's always about a world that works for everyone, where, nobody is left out, where nobody's ever been right and nobody's ever been wrong. And you get to solve things in love, because love is more important than being right or wrong. And if you scroll down, Desi B, or maybe look at tabs, because I can't see them, I'm looking for a pledge. So I know that I have a link that I show on these. Oh, it's yourlovedoesmatter.com/collaboration. And yeah, just add collaboration. And that is a spot where he invites you to sign a pledge to be cognizant of your footprint. And then I think that's where I got onto his mailing list. So yeah, it's the collaboration exists to be aware of our love footprint, and gives you all sorts of reasons to join the collaboration. Okay, thank you. And you can stop the share. And I'll tell you what I do with the collaboration is, I said that when I started teaching gratitude, I did gratitude coloring books. And more recently, I've started handing out coloring pages because it's fun. If I'm walking through a supermarket and some cart goes by and there are kids hanging off it, I'll look at the adult and say, "Hey, Mom, does anybody in your life like to color?" And she'll say, "Sure, I have to." So I dig around in my purse and I come up with a couple of pages and say, "Well, tell them that your love matters." And then if they have a chance and they read, it says, "Hey, I signed the pledge to be aware of and responsible for my love footprint because my love does matter." Pause for a moment, breathe deeply, and consider the immense power of your love in the world. Imagine a world where related souls seek to expand humanity's love footprint. And then I invite people to a bit.ly link, just because that way I can track that I've had a little bit of a influence there, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't mean anything. So I do bit.ly, bit.ly/, but yourlovedoesmatter.com/collaboration will get you there as well. And that's what matters. And if you found this replaying on YouTube, then you already know about my YouTube Living Gratitude channel. And I hope that you have subscribed and told your friends. Thank you so very much. If you have a story about how God made a difference in your life, testimony, and you believe God exists and you want to share that, I invite you to come to this meeting next month and put your voice out there where it can be a voice in the world for somebody in the future. Bless you. Thank you. And at this point, I'm going to sign off and leave the meeting and then go in the office.